Hey guys, I am trying so hard to give you a cover of fucking Swedish House Mafia, Don't You Worry Child, but every time I start fucking singing the song, I make a fucking mistake. So fuck this, in a few minutes, I'm gonna give you the fucking cover. If I can give you the fucking cover, just curse me the fuck out. Cause I really don't give a shit right now. So, deal with me, and I will give you the fucking cover. Okay, here we go. There was a time I met a girl of a different kind. Fuck! There was a time I used to look into my father's eyes. In a happy home, I was a kid, I had to go far. Oh, those days are gone, now memories on the wall. Still hear the song from the places that I was born. Up on the hill across the blue lake, that's where I had my first heartbreak. I still remember how it all changed. Yeah. My father said, don't you worry, child. See, heaven's got a plan for you. Don't you worry, child. Yeah, there was the time. Girl of a different kind. We rule the world. I thought I never lose her out of sight. We were so young. Now I think of her now and then. Do you hear the song that remind me of all the friends? Up on the hill across the blue lake, that's where I had my first heartbreak. I still remember how it all changed. I'm done with this shit. I'm not even gonna sing it anymore. Fuck you. Well, fuck myself. So there you go. I couldn't give you the fucking cover. But another day I will give you the fucking cover. So just wait. Give me a few days. We'll get back in shape. I give you the fucking cover. And yeah, maybe I teach you how to fucking play the fucking song. So yeah, I'm gonna turn the fuck up.